1888. London. A man murders 5 women in 10 weeks, carves them apart with surgical precision, sends letters to the police taunting them, and then vanishes. Never caught, never identified, never seen again. But here's what they don't teach you. Jack the Ripper wasn't the first serial killer. He was just the first one the newspapers made famous. This is Whitechapel, East London. August 31st, 1888. Mary Ann Nichols found dead in Bucks Row. Throat slashed, abdomen mutilated. Police call it a murder. Brutal, but not unusual. Whitechapel averages 3 murders per week. Poverty, gangs, desperation. But then it happens again. September 8th. Annie Chapman. Same wounds, same precision, same rage. Scotland Yard realizes something. These aren't random. They're connected, methodical, practiced. And when the third body appears, Catherine Eddowes, September 30th, the killer leaves something new. A letter, addressed to the police, written in red ink, or blood. Nobody's sure. It says, "Dear boss, I am down on whores and I shan't quit ripping them till I do get buckled." Signed, Jack the Ripper. The first time that name appears. In his own handwriting, the press goes insane. Jack the Ripper. The name becomes a legend. Newspapers sell millions. Everyone's obsessed. But 117 years earlier, in a French village called Gévaudan, something worse was happening. 1764 to 1767. 3 years, 113 attacks, 98 deaths, women, children, shepherds, torn apart, throats ripped out, faces eaten. Witnesses describe a creature, larger than a wolf, reddish fur, supernatural speed. They call it La Bête, the beast, and the man hunting it? Jean Chastel, royal hunter. He kills it in 1767, shoots it with a blessed silver bullet, opens its stomach, finds human remains, a child's collarbone, and the French crown immediately orders the body destroyed, burned, buried in an unmarked grave. Why? Because La Bête wasn't an animal. It was a man, in a wolf pelt. And if the public knew a human did this, the terror would spread. Copycats, hysteria, revolution. So they called it a monster, buried the truth, and moved on. Meet Jack. We don't know his name, age, occupation, nothing. August to November 1888. 5 confirmed murders. Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, Mary Jane Kelly. All prostitutes, all in Whitechapel, all killed within half a mile of each other. Scotland Yard investigates. 2,000 people interviewed, 300 suspects, 0 arrests. The murders share patterns. All at night, all on weekends, all victims found outdoors. Throats cut left to right, suggesting a right-handed killer. Abdominal mutilations, organs removed, uterus, kidney taken with precision, suggesting medical knowledge. Surgeon, butcher, mortician, someone who understands anatomy. The letters keep coming. October 1st, from Hell letter, sent with half a human kidney, preserved in wine, addressed to George Lusk, head of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee. The letter, Mr. Lusk, I send you half the kidney I took from one woman, preserved it for you. The other piece I fried and ate. It was very nice. Handwriting analysis, different from the Dear Boss letter. Possibly a hoax, possibly real. Nobody knows. November 9th, 1888. The final murder. Mary Jane Kelly, 25 years old. Found in her rented room. Mutilated beyond recognition. Face destroyed. Organs arranged around the body. Heart missing. Police report, the bed was saturated with blood. The victim's body positioned as if for a photograph. And then, nothing. Jack disappears. No more murders, no more letters, just silence. If you want to know how Scotland Yard identified the killer in 1892, a Polish immigrant barber named Aaron Kosminski, but couldn't arrest him because he'd already been committed to an asylum and how he died there in 1919, still scribbling, I didn't do it. On the walls, hit follow, because the DNA evidence from 2014 proves Kosminski was Jack. But the asylum records show he couldn't have been. He was locked up during 2 of the murders, which means either the timeline's wrong or there were 2 Jacks, but Jack wasn't first. 1810. Germany. A farmer named Andreas Bischel Arrested for murdering 2 women, police search his house, find bodies, 12 of them, buried in his cellar. All women aged 18 to 45. Strangled. Eyes removed. Whitechapel kept them in jars. Labeled with dates: Sophia, March 1802. Margarita, July 1804. Systematic. Documented. Proud. When interrogated, Whitechapel says, "I needed their eyes to see the world correctly." Executed October 1813. Newspapers barely mention it. Too disturbing. Too incomprehensible. Before Whitechapel, 1450s. France. Gilles de Rais. Baron, war hero. Fought alongside Joan of Arc. After her death, 1431, he retires, becomes reclusive. 1432 to 1440, 8 years. 140 children disappear near his estates. Servants report screams from the castle. Basements locked. Strange smells. 1440, families petition the Duke of Brittany. Demand investigation. October 1440, soldiers raid de Rais's castle. Find bodies. 40 children. Skeletons, remains, dungeon walls covered in blood, instruments, blades, hooks, chains. De Rais confesses. No torture needed. Proud. Detailed. Describes each murder. Methods. Dates. How they begged. How he laughed. Trial lasts 3 weeks. October 26th, 1440. Convicted. Hanged. Body burned. Ashes scattered. And here's the disturbing part. He wasn't insane. Confessed, "I did it because I wanted to, because I could, because their suffering pleased me." The first recorded admission of murder for pleasure. The birth of serial killing. But even de Rais wasn't first, because we have records older. 331 AD, Roman Empire. Locusta of Gaul, professional poisoner, hired by nobles, politicians, empresses, killed hundreds, maybe thousands. Poison was untraceable, undetectable. Agrippina the Younger hired her. 54 AD, to poison Emperor Claudius. Install Nero. It worked. Nero then hired Locusta, killed his stepbrother Britannicus. 55 AD, Locusta became Nero's official poisoner, state-sanctioned serial killer. When Nero fell, 68 AD, Locusta was arrested, executed by Emperor Galba, torn apart by wild animals. Public spectacle. But the record shows Locusta poisoned 400 people, confirmed, documented, paid, and enjoyed it. Guards reported she smiled during her execution. Last words: "I perfected death." You're all amateurs. So why does Jack the Ripper get the credit? First serial killer? He wasn't. Not even close. But he was the first media sensation. 1888, telegraph, newspapers, mass printing. Jack's murders were reported globally. Daily updates, theories, sketches. The public was obsessed. Jack wasn't the first serial killer, he was the first famous one. And that changed everything. Because after Jack, serial killers wanted fame. H.H. Holmes, 1893. Chicago, murdered 27 people in his murder castle. Bragged about it, sold his story to newspapers. Executed 1896. Ted Bundy, 1970s. 30 victims, confessed on TV, interviews, books, movies, fame. Jack created the template. Kill, taunt, vanish, become a legend. And hundreds followed. BTK, Zodiac, Golden State Killer. All of them referenced Jack. All of them wanted what he had, immortality through terror. But here's what we forget. Jack killed 5 people. Confirmed. Labette killed 98. Whitechapel killed 12. De Rais killed 140. Locusta killed 400. Jack's body count is nothing, but his legend? Eternal. Why? Because he was never caught, never identified, never punished. And that mystery? That's what we remember. 2019. DNA analysis. Shawl from Catherine Eddowes' crime scene. Tested. Results. Aaron Kosminski. Polish immigrant. Hairdresser. Whitechapel resident. 1888. Match confirmed. Case closed. Right, except Kosminski was committed to Colney Hatch Asylum. March 1889. 3 months after the last murder. Records show erratic behavior. Schizophrenia. Violent outbursts. But asylum logs prove he was there during Elizabeth Stride's murder. September 30th, 1888. Timeline doesn't match. So either the DNA is contaminated, or Kosminski had an accomplice, or the asylum lied about admission dates, or Jack wasn't one person. Theories multiply, evidence contradicts, and 136 years later, we still don't know. Every serial killer you've heard of, every true crime documentary, every murder mystery, all of them trace back to Jack. August 1888, Whitechapel, the man who killed 5 and became immortal. But Jack wasn't the most prolific. 1980s, Colombia, Luis Garavito confessed to 138 murders. Children, aged 6 to 16, sentenced to 1,853 years, reduced to 22 for cooperation. Released 2021. Lives in Bogota, under a new identity. Protected by the state. That story? It's in my Shadow Chronicles, and it makes Jack the Ripper look like a cautionary tale. Thanks for watching, and next time you hear Jack the Ripper, first serial killer, remember, he wasn't first. He was just the first one we couldn't forget.